Hello to all Transformers fans everywhere. In this video, we will present the first episode of my own series that I created because I am a Transformers fan. A story titled Transformers Leadership. So I hope the followers appreciate this work and support me by subscribing. Now, let's watch this new epic together. Cybertron, a living mechanical world, pulsing with energy, carrying within its core an ancient secret, a sentient entity known as Primus. Primus sought to bring peace and order to the galaxy. To achieve this, he created 12 Primes, mighty beings who embodied strength, wisdom, and virtue. They were known as Prima Prime, Vector Prime, Alpha Trion, Solus Prime, Quintus Prime, Onyx Prime, Micronus Prime, Alchemist Prime, Zeta Prime, Liege Max Emo, Amalgamus Prime, and finally, Megatronus Prime. Among them, Primus chose Prima as the leader. He granted him the Sword of Leadership, connected to the Matrix of Leadership, the ultimate symbol of authority. And this sword will one day choose the greatest leader Cybertron has ever known. But this choice ignited resentment within Megatronus, who believed he deserved leadership. This began a fierce war between the brothers, splitting them into the Autobots, defenders of peace, led by Prima, and the Decepticons, seekers of domination, led by Megatronus. The war raged for ages, scarring Cybertron. In the end, the Autobots prevailed, and the Decepticons' power was broken. Our story begins in the present. Alpha Trion stood before the Autobots, the heroes of our tale. Orion Pax, Bumblebee, Bulkhead, Prowl, Ratchet, and Whirl, his personal guardian. In his hand gleamed the Sword of Leadership as he narrated the introduction you have just heard. Curious and eager for knowledge, Orion, Pax, and Ratchet asked him to continue to tell more of the story. Alpha Trion chuckled softly. One day, he said, this sword will choose a leader to carry the burden of guiding Cybertron to peace. Orion Pax, his eyes wide with curiosity, asked, Master Alpha Trion, you spoke of the Sword of Leadership and of a hero chosen to bring peace to Cybertron, but how can a sword decide? What makes it choose one over another? With a wise smile, Alpha Trion replied, the sword is not merely metal, Orion. It is the embodiment of Primus's own will. It does not choose the strongest or the smartest, but the one who carries a faithful heart and a pure purpose. When the time comes, you will know the answer yourself. But Bumblebee suddenly stood up. He slammed his fist on the ground and said angrily, enough talk of prophecies and legends. What we need now is a clear plan to confront Megatron while we sit here discussing the past. He controls the present and destroys our future. Some of us have been expelled from our teams, others removed from leadership, and some of us have only fought in Sentinel training. Orion Pax tried to calm him, saying, Bumblebee, I understand your anger, but the past holds lessons that may be the key to victory. Let us learn first before rushing into battle. Alpha Trion spoke with pride in his eyes. Despite your youth, your words carry the wisdom of a leader, Orion. Never underestimate the power of knowledge. Orion Pax continued, saying, even so, Bumblebee raises an important point, that the Decepticons have had a Cybertronian year since the start of their rebellion, and they conduct raids, attacks, and take over cities, and the cities they cannot control, they destroy and demolish, while we do nothing but defend. Whirl intervened, saying, "Attacking now is difficult, for Megatron's tactics are precise in any assault he conducts. I know him well, having been a former Decepticon." Bulkhead is surprised and shouts, "What, you were one of the cons?" Then Alpha Trion takes the word and says, "Yes, at the beginning of the cons' uprising, they attacked Eocon to take control of it. But I helped Sentinel and the rest of the bots with a counterattack, which made the cons retreat. And Whirl was injured during their withdrawal. He saw nothing but the cons, leaving him behind. But I did not want to kill him, and I saw in him a good bot who serves our goal, which is to achieve peace. So I took him, and Ratchet treated him." Bulkhead says, "Ratchet, you also knew about this and did not tell us." He looks at everyone, noticing their expressions as if they knew about it. He says, "I can't believe I'm the last one to know about this." Prowl answers, "You were sleeping on the day of the Whirl logo change." Bulkhead says, "Ooh, yes, I remember that day." Then Alpha Trion adds, "Nevertheless, Whirl has proven good competence in our ranks, and with his knowledge of the cons, he allowed us to strengthen our defenses on the cities." Suddenly, Sentinel enters the room with quick steps and says, "Sir Alpha Trion, I have bad news. The Decepticons have invaded Magnus City and Cyber City and left them in ruins, and all the cities west of Darkmount have come under their control. We have left only Eocon and our base here in Nova City." Alpha Trion says, "When did all this happen?" Sentinel replies, "Today they carried out a full invasion, and I just learned about it now from Ultra Magnus and Hot Rod, and I ordered all teams to withdraw and regroup in Eocon." Then Orion Pax enters and says, "This is somewhat illogical. How did our devices or teams not detect the cons' movements? Clearly, Sir Alpha Trion, there is a traitor among us." Everyone is confused, and they look at each other with suspicious glances covering their faces. And before anyone could say anything, the place suddenly shakes, and the ceiling of the room explodes, causing the debris to collapse on them. "Watch out!" shouted Alpha Trion. Whirl managed to save his master by blasting the debris, using a ray gun in his arm, while Bulkhead struck the debris with his heavy hands and pushed it away. As for Bumblebee and Brawl, they dodged the debris and saved Ratchet at the last moment. But Orion, Pax, and Sentinel were unable to escape, and the debris fell on them. When the dust settled, a horrifying scene appeared. 8 aircraft hovering above the building landed one after another and transformed into massive robots. They were the Decepticons, known as Arachnid, Soundwave, Skyquake and his brother Dreadwing, Blitzwing, Shockwave, Starscream, and finally the last robot appeared, who transformed with heavy steps and stood before everyone, the leader of all the Decepticons, Megatron. Thank you for watching the first episode of Transformers Leadership. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you won't miss the next exciting episode. Tell me in the comments your theories and opinions about this story, and see you next time.